All right, welcome back to Power Lunch. The race for electricity is becoming a deal maker's dream. The deals to gain power are heating up fast and furious. If you're not paying attention, you should be. Here's what's happened recently. On Monday, Blackstone agreed to buy New Mexico power producer TXNM for $5.7 billion. Just a few days before that, Vistra said it'll pay $1.9 billion for 7 natural gas power plants. Oh, and on May 12th, NRG made a massive $12 billion deal to buy 18 power plants from LS Power. And of course, the year began with the biggest deal of all, Constellation Energy paying $19 billion to buy power producer Calpine. That deal still has to close. And while most of those focused on natural gas power, nuclear is becoming a bigger and bigger part of the story as well. Anybody remember nuclear? Last year, Microsoft agreed to help fund the restarting of Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island. Got to get permitted, whatever, but the deal is out there. And there's been talk of other nuclear power plants also restarting, again, if they can get the funding and, most importantly, the permits and approval. Almost all of this is to make sure there's enough power for data centers and AI. Some of that, though, also being used for crypto mining. And at the forefront of both is publicly traded TeraWulf, and its CEO, Paul Prager, rejoins us now. Paul, thanks for coming on. I know you've got specific things with your company, but can we bring that graphic back up, guys? Blackstone, Vistra, NRG, Constellation. These are big names spending big money. What do you make of it?
I think it makes sense. The demand for power in the United States is significant. It takes 4 to 5 years to bring new generation online. I think you need power to be able to provide the necessary fuel, the electricity for all the data center demand. And so people are trying to lock that in. TeraWulf has access to power, significant, scalable, sustainable power, and near-term power. We have power ready to roll right now for our data center customers. And you know about our recent customer deal with Core 42, backed by G42.
Yeah, and it's really amazing because we talked about this for so long, and then, of course, the tariffs kind of took everything off the front page, and now we're back to talking about these deals. I guess, Paul, and you are a deal maker by trade. I mean, you've built companies and sold them, and now you're building a new company. Are there a lot more assets out there that would be for sale?
No, I don't think so. I think that power supply is in real demand. And not all sites, by the way, that have energy are appropriate for high power compute and AI. So that's even a far more important value point. And so TeraWulf is well positioned because we have a site scalable right now for 750 megawatts. Most of the energy is hydro and nuclear, and 93%. And so it's very compelling for that a company like Core 42 that wants to have, high power compute and AI at the site.
I'm going to ask you a question then you not only won't answer, but you probably legally can't. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Are you for sale?
No, TeraWulf is not. I mean, we have wonderful investors and they could buy our stock all the time, but TeraWulf is certainly not for sale. I will tell you that in our prior life as energy infrastructure developers, we did deals and we managed fleet for Blackstone, NRG, and had a partnership with the Constellation on your list. So 3 out of the 4 we've done a lot of business with, but TeraWulf is at the intersection between energy infrastructure and high power compute and AI. And our business today is focused exclusively on evolving to a high yield HPC AI provider for customers like Core 42.
And to your point, you've got power that's already been built. And I think that's why we're seeing these deals, because to build a new nuclear power plant takes, I don't know, a decade minimum, a lot of permitting, maybe the permits.
I think you're at least a decade away from nuclear power. Gas-fired generation takes
available.
Time, 5 years. So I think the access to power and the near-term access to power is critical.
Yeah, it's kind of this, I almost feel like it's a little game theory-ish, where you buy because you don't want somebody else to buy it. We'll bring that chart back up on the wall, guys, because we showed 4 deals. 3 of them are not like the other one. Because the Blackstone deal is to buy a regulated utility, TXNM, which operates primarily in the NM, New Mexico. Is it smart to buy a regulated utility? The other three are kind of like you can just use the power for what you want to a point. What do you make of the regulated utility deal?
Again, our focus is on supplying energy to folks that need it for HPC AI. I think a regulated utility play is a great play because the country is short generation and we need to invest in new generation for the United States. So I think no matter what, you're looking at a nice return and a very, very interesting business because the demands for energy are increasing every day, particularly as a result of the new demand from the HPC AI sector.
And what's also amazing, it's not just AI, Paul, because you guys sort of built your bones, the infrastructure part of it, on crypto mining, and now you've moved into AI and shifting with hydro and nuclear, which are carbon-free, as we know. Talk to us about, we don't ever talk anymore about the demand for crypto power. We used to talk about it all the time, and now we talk about AI. How strong is the demand for crypto mining right now, and what role do you play in that?
So, the site that we have at Lake Mariner is a site that we actually owned and operated when we sold power to the grid. We were looking for the highest value use for our megawatts, and that was, in fact, Bitcoin mining, which is a very flexible load. Not all Bitcoin miners are appropriate to make the shift to high-power compute and AI because they don't have redundant power, they don't have gold-plated utility standard energy infrastructure, and they may not be in a location that makes sense. In the case of TeraWulf's Lake Mariner, it is in a location that is entirely appropriate for HPC AI. We have redundant 345 kV lines. We have access to plenty of fiber. We have a very scalable site. We have 1,800 acres there. So I think there are still plenty of sites that are appropriate, if you will, for Bitcoin mining. But we prefer to go to a predictable, long-term, contracted revenue stream. That's what HPC AI is. Now, TeraWulf still does Bitcoin mining at the site. And in fact, it's providing great cash flow. But it also provides a useful mechanism to buffer the grid, because as you know, HPC AI requires the 5 nines of quality in terms of its electricity. So we have that Bitcoin mining that we can, it's very flexible, use to assist the grid operator.
And we'll wrap it up with that, Paul, and thank you. And what I also like about it is that you're kind of also, listen, upstate New York, where Lake Mariner is, not exactly the hottest job market. So you're sort of bringing a new industry to an area that's, let's say, had its economic challenges right up there in upstate New York. Paul Prager, CEO and founder of TeraWulf. Paul, thank you very much.